Bonsoir, Annie, and welcome to our regular meeting of Council. I'll start with the land acknowledgement. We acknowledge that we live, work, and gather on the traditional and unceded territory of the Algonquin people, specifically the Temiskaming First Nation. We recognize the presence of the Temiskaming First Nation in our community since time immemorial and honor their long history of welcoming many nations to this beautiful territory and uphold and uplift their voice and values. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Good evening, Your Worship. All members of Council are present.
Thank you. Brings us to item 3, review of revisions or deletions to the agenda. Seeing none, takes us to item 4, approval of the agenda. I do have a resolution in front of me. Be it resolved that City Council approves the agenda as printed. Can I get a mover, please? Seconded. Discussion? All in favor? That motion is carried. Is there any disclosure of pecuniary interest in general nature? Seeing none, we don't have any public meetings pursuant to the Planning Act, Municipal Act, and other statutes. Takes us to item 7, review and adoption of council minutes. I do have a resolution in front of me. Be it resolved that City Council approves the minutes of the City of Temiskaming Shores Council and Committee of the Whole meetings as printed. A, the Committee of the Whole meeting minutes from January the 21st, 2026. B, the regular council meeting minutes from January the 21st, 2026. And C, the Committee of the Whole meeting minutes held on February the 3rd, 2026. Can I get a mover, please? Thanks, Councillor Graydon. Seconded by Councillor Dawson. Discussion? All in favor? That motion is carried. We don't have any presentations or delegations. It takes us to item 9, correspondence and communication. A, from the municipality of North Grenville, Merrickville, Wolford Village, the OPP Detachment Board. Re, the resolution of support for enhanced school bus safety and the implementation of stop arm camera systems. That was received for information. B, the Earlton-Temiskaming Regional Airport Authority. Read the ETRAA financial reports for the months of July, August, September, and October, and December 2025. Received for information. C, from the town of Englehart, resolution of support, provincial support of the Ontario Airport Capital Assistance Program. That was received for information. D, from David Plerd, the President of the Federation of Northern Ontario Municipalities. Re, a nation building opportunity for Highways 11 and 17 and a clear federal signal. And that was received for information. Item E, the Federation of Northern Ontario Municipalities. Re, the resolution of support to ensure essential medical laboratory services remain accessible within Northern Ontario. Planned closure of the Life Labs laboratory in Greater Sudbury. That was received for information. Item F, the Federation of Northern Ontario Municipalities. Re, the resolution of support for prescribed diversion, partnership, and collaboration project, the Birth of Change. That was received for information. Item G, the Temiskaming Municipal Association, resolution of support for urgent highway safety and driver training concerns in Northern Ontario. That was received for information. Item H, from the town of Kirkland Lake, resolution of support for interlibrary book rates with Canada Post. That was received for information. Item I, from Ville de Hearst, town of Hearst, Re, the resolution of support for improvements to the driver license reinstatement process. That was received for information. And item J, from the municipality of Magnetawan, Re, the resolution of support for affordability requirements for federal broadband funding and universal access programs. That was received for information. And I have a resolution in front of me. Be it resolved that Council for the City of Temiskaming Shores agrees to deal with communication items 9A through 9J in accordance with the agenda of references. Can I get a mover, please? It's Councillor Whalen, seconded by Councillor Graydon. Discussion? Councillor Ducharme.
I'd like to see C and G come back. So one of them is the airport capital assistance, and the other one is the TMA resolution around highways.
Okay, thank you. Any others? Councillor Pelche-Levin.
If we could bring back item H, please, about the Interlibrarian Canada Post.
Okay, thank you. Any others? Councillor Wilson.
Yeah, and I'd like to bring back A and E. Actually, and I and J. There you go.
Is there any we don't want to bring back?
Yeah, I should have done it that way.
That's great.
There's a lot today, yeah.
There is. Okay, we have a resolution in front of us. All in favor? And that motion is carried. Takes us to item 10, Committees of Council, Community and Regional. I do have a resolution in front of me. Be it resolved that the minutes from the various community and regional committees of council be accepted for information. A, the District of Temiskaming Social Services Administration Board meeting minutes held on December the 17th, 2025. B, the Earlton Temiskaming Regional Airport Authority meeting minutes from January the 16th, 2025, May 15th, 2025, June 19th, 2025, and November 20th, 2025. C, the Temiskaming Shores Public Library Board meeting minutes from November the 26th, 2025. D, the Northeastern Public Health Board of Health meeting minutes from November the 27th, 2025, and January 12th, 2026. E, the Active Travel Committee meeting minutes held on October the 27th, 2025. And F, All Age Friendly Committee meeting minutes held on September the 25th, 2025, and November the 27th, 2025. And G, Temiskaming Shores OPP Detachment Board meeting minutes held on October the 14th, 2025, and December the 9th, 2025. Can I get a mover and a seconder, please? Councillor Dawson, seconded by Councillor Wilson. Discussion? Councillor Pelche-Levin.
It's just a note about the minutes for the Regional Airport Authority. It says in there that the finance and managers' reports are to be attached to be part of the minutes, and we got the financials in correspondence, but the managers were not included. So I don't know if that's just an omission or if I'm misunderstanding.
Okay, we'll follow up and just make sure everybody does get the manager's report as well. Thanks.
Yeah.
Councillor Whalen.
Yeah, just with regards to the airport authority as well, I just want to say hats off to the authority because it's been a long time since we've seen the numbers heading in the direction they're heading, so thank you very much.
Thanks, Councillor Whalen. Appreciate that. Any other comments? Okay, we do have a resolution in front of us. All in favor? And that motion is carried. Takes us to item 11, reports by members of council, and I'll start with Councillor Ducharme.
Thank you, Mayor. I was very honored to attend the 2026 Roma Conference along with your Mayor LaFerriere, Councillor Wilson, and CAO Lee. And certainly there were some delegations. I was privileged to attend one around an alternative calculation method for projected population, which I admit may have come a bit over my head in terms of the math, but thankfully the staff had us well prepared. And this was just to ensure that we're still eligible for funding going forward. It wasn't something they'd seen before, so it may be something exclusive to our area, so it was good that we brought it forward. As always, I enjoy connecting with others. A couple of highlights that I thought were relevant were that there is some data coming out from the HERE initiative from Dr. Leith Deacon out of Guelph that I think could be relevant, that we could push locally in terms of gathering better data for our community. There was a lot of talk about housing and what Northern Ontario is doing for housing and how the 7 DSABs across Northern Ontario are partnering. And so I hope that our DSAB will be participating in that. They're doing that to access the big pot of federal funding that is coming forward, that is being brought through portfolios. An interesting session on landfill capacity in Ontario and how overall we are all stuck. There is not enough, and we are very dependent on the U.S. in a situation where trade, of course, is fraught. So very interesting security issues arising around where our garbage goes, and then, of course, Northern Ontario being the default. We've been down that road. And then I think the last piece that I really took away was a approach to homelessness that's being undertaken in Renfrew County through MESA is the name of the group. It's a partnership between their local mental health, their hospital, and other providers. It's very Renfrew's a big county like our DSAB covers, and I think it might be relevant for us to do some information exchange on what could be done similar here, because they seem to have a model that's working in communities that are spread apart with not a lot of resources. So that's what I took away. It was a great learning opportunity, and I really appreciate the opportunity to go.
Thanks, Councillor Ducharme. And then Councillor Wilson.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. And thank you, Councillor Ducharme, for that report. And I won't repeat anything that you identified, but I just wanted to comment on your point about the MESA group in Renfrew. Yeah, they've been very proactive on that file, and I hear a little bit about it at Roma meetings, and I think you're right. I think there's a model there that we can really learn from. I just wanted to highlight a couple of things in my report, which is included in the package anyway, but as a Roma director, each year we do a zone report, and we're zone 9, and we also have these zone meetings that are held, and it's interesting, part of that meeting is where delegates have the opportunity to bring issues forward. And it's interesting, and I've listed them in the report, but there was some very consistent seemed to be some significant frustration around a lot of these issues, and I think it's really important that we continue to to bring these issues to the provincial government, and so things like lack of provincial revenue, sustainable funding for OPP is an issue in multiple parts of Northern Ontario. Again, the producer responsibility and recycling issues are significantly are a significant priority for a lot of municipalities. The road maintenance falling behind, downloading in a number of different areas, doctor shortages, as well as small municipalities not receiving funding for revenues where resource industries are in their areas, significant tax levies going to external agencies, which we all know about as well, and affect our budgets, and obviously delays in broadband and communication issues in Northern Ontario, as well as road safety concerns. So there are a lot of issues out there that delegates are bringing forward at these sessions, and so this zone meeting was a combination of zone 9 and 10, so that includes all of Northern Ontario. And I found it's always a very interesting meeting, and it's also a great opportunity to have discussions with colleagues from other parts of Northern Ontario. From a Roma perspective, the conference was bigger than again, set records for attendance and set records for the number of municipalities that attended, and trade show that was sold out. It's a very successful conference, and what hopefully it does as well is, as I said earlier, brings some of these issues that are problems for municipalities to the provincial government. Yeah, that's it for now. Thanks, Mayor.
Thanks, Councillor Wilson. Any other updates? Councillor Whalen?
Yeah, thanks, Mayor. I'll apologize to staff because I've been busy being retired, or I would have come in and talked to you about this first, but I've been getting phone calls about the new meter bills for ICI, multi-res, the new meters. Apparently some of the affected properties, we had a series of ghost bills that went out that some of them weren't receiving those, so they weren't really able to forecast what the impact would be until they started actually getting some bills. And I think a large part of it is a misunderstanding of what exactly it is they're paying for, because like I said to one gentleman, you're paying for 1 cubic meter of water, which is 1,000 liters. If you went into any fast food restaurant, you'd probably pay $3 to $5 a bottle, so that's anywhere from $3,000 to $5,000. So when you explain it that way, suddenly, oh, I didn't realize that. So I think, I'm wondering, do we need maybe a public information session now after a certain length of time where the people have been getting enough bills to become accustomed to it, and then they can come in and we can explain exactly how it works? Because I'm not educated enough to be explaining it to them right now, because it's new to us as well. So would that be an opportunity for us?
For sure, we can provide as much information as we want to, right, to the public. And if there is that misconception or not really understanding the bills, we can definitely hold some sort of information session. We are getting some calls too, with the understanding there was going to be some growing pains throughout the whole process. So in talking with Stephanie, our treasurer, we're going to try to identify what people are actually paying for a little bit more clearer on the bills that they're getting. As far as some folks not getting the mock bill, those would be only a result of their water meter just being recently installed and not having the opportunity to get the mock bill before. Everybody that had a meter installed when we introduced mock billing would have got a mock bill, so they were able to see what their bill would look like.
Yeah, because I find if we have the opportunity to explain to them, your bill's not, yeah, the cost to you specifically has increased, but what we've done is we've equalized the cost of water to everybody across the municipality. I know in my former municipality, water was heavily subsidized, so we've equalized it across the municipality. So you're actually, the old dollar in, dollar out saying is what you're paying for now, but I think there's a disconnect. People don't really grasp that, so that's why I was wondering about a public information session. I don't know if it'd be beneficial right away until they get a couple more bills under their belt, but I think it might be a wise move.
Okay. Steve, go ahead.
Yeah, I agree. I think maybe we wait a little bit too with the implementation halfway through 2025. Added a little bit of confusion as well, because the people that were on the flat rates system before would have paid for all of 2025 through their tax bill process and then applied a credit. So if until the credit's eaten up into 2026, they're going to get the actual water bills that they are going to have to be paying for. So I think maybe waiting a little bit might be a wise thing.
Okay, thanks. Thanks, Councillor Whalen. Thanks, Steve. Any other? Okay, we'll move on to item 12. Is there any notice of motions? And I'll turn it over to Councillor Wilson.
Thank you, Mayor. This motion that I'm going to read is in regards to the OMERS pension, and recently Bill 68 was passed in Ontario, and there have been some proposed governance changes in Bill 68, meaning that municipalities have less of a voice in the pension plan that we pay for, and certainly municipalities have a are always working at trying to attract and retain employees, and the OMERS pension is a very, very important tool in that in those efforts. So this motion is one that has been distributed by AMO, and I'll read it at this point. So, notice of motion, re OMERS governance changes in Bill 68. Whereas the Ontario Municipal Employees Retirement System, OMERS, pension fund serves over 1,000 employers and over 500,000 employees and retirees from diverse groups, including municipal governments, school boards, libraries, police and fire departments, Children Aid Society, and electricity distribution companies. And whereas the long-standing jointly sponsored governance model with 2 corporate boards has provided stability, accountability, and fairness for both plan members and employers for more than 2 decades. And whereas the Government of Ontario has passed legislative changes to OMERS governance structure through Bill 68, and whereas these changes would replace the current OMERS Sponsors Corporation with a new Sponsors Council that would lose its corporate status and independent resources. And whereas the proposed model could allow pension decisions affecting municipal employers and employees to be made without meaningful municipal oversight, increasing financial risk for municipalities and local taxpayers. And whereas municipalities are already under significant financial strain and cannot absorb additional pension costs without consequences for property taxes or local services. Therefore, be it resolved that the City of Temiskaming Shores does not support the legislative changes to the OMERS Act contained in Bill 68 and requests that the Government of Ontario reconsider the advisability of proceeding with these changes, and that the City of Temiskaming Shores Council supports the Association of Municipalities of Ontario in calling on the Government of Ontario to maintain the current OMERS governance model with 2 corporate boards as the structure that would best deliver on long-term interests of municipalities, taxpayers, and employees. And further, that this resolution be circulated to the Honourable Rob Flack, Minister of Housing and Municipal Affairs, the Honourable Peter Bethenfalvey, Minister of Finance, John Vantoff, MPP Temiskaming Cochrane, the Association of Municipalities of Ontario, the Rural Ontario Municipal Association, the Federation of Northern Ontario Municipalities, the Northwestern Ontario Municipal Association. Thank you, Mayor.
Thanks, Councillor Wilson, and that'll be on the agenda for our next meeting. Is there any others? Seeing none, takes us to item 13, new business. So 13A, the City of Peterborough, resolution of support for sustainable funding for police services requests. And whereas Council of the City of Peterborough adopted a resolution regarding sustainable funding for police service at their regular meeting on November the 3rd, 2025. And whereas municipalities across Ontario are required to maintain a police service, and whereas municipalities across Ontario are required to constitute a municipal board to having policing responsibility for the municipality or enter into a written agreement for an alternative provision of policing services. And whereas municipalities across Ontario with a police service board are required to ensure adequate and effective policing is provided in the area for which they have policing responsibility in accordance with the needs of the population in the area and having regard for the diversity of the population in the area. And whereas police service boards within municipalities where court proceedings are conducted are required to ensure the security of judges, other judicial officials, members of the public participating in court proceedings, ensuring the secure custody of persons in custody who are on or about the premises, including persons taken into custody at proceedings. And whereas the provision of court security is not part of the providing adequate and effective policing, and whereas the cost of providing court security is a cost of the municipality regardless of whether all matters originate within the municipality, and whereas municipalities across Ontario are required to have and maintain critical infrastructure, including appropriate police facilities and equipment to ensure adequate and effective policing is provided, and whereas municipalities across Ontario are experiencing increased police operating and capital costs directly related to new compliance and operational standards required under the Community Safety and Policing Act 2019, and whereas these cost increases stem from provincially mandated requirements, including training, certification, technology, reporting, and staffing obligations necessary to bring local police services into compliance with the Act. And whereas municipalities have no discretion in implementing these measures and limited ability to absorb the resulting financial pressures within existing budgets, and whereas policing is a provincially legislated responsibility, yet municipalities are bearing the brunt of the costs to implement provincial mandates. Therefore, be it resolved, the Council of the City of Temiskaming Shores supports the City of Peterborough's request that the Province of Ontario provide targeted financial assistance to municipalities to offset any additional costs that are directly and demonstrably incurred as a result of compliance with the Community Safety and Policing Act 2019 and not general increases to police budgets, and that Council urges the Province of Ontario to review and reform its current police grant programs to ensure a more equitable distribution of funding to municipalities so that the communities with growing populations and expanding service demands receive fair and sustainable provincial support. And further, that Council requests the Province of Ontario to provide stable, sustainable funding to offset costs associated with the provision of providing court security services. And further, that this resolution be forwarded to the Premier of Ontario, the Minister of the Solicitor General, the Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing, the Association of Municipalities of Ontario, the Temiskaming OPP Detachment Board, and the City of Peterborough. Can I get a mover, please? Councillor Whalen, seconded by Councillor Pelletier-Living. Discussion? All in favor? And that motion is carried. Takes us to item B, Township of Horn-Payne Resolution of Support, proposed small northern new residential property tax class. I do have a resolution in front of me, whereas Council of the Township of Horn-Payne adopted a resolution regarding a proposed small northern new residential property tax class, and where there is a visible disparity between the northern and southern population of Ontario, and whereas Northern Ontario has an abundance of opportunity in the form of municipality serviced building lots for both industry and population growth, and whereas high residential property taxes in Northern Ontario discourage and prohibit the construction of new residential single-family dwellings, and whereas the addition of a small northern new residential property tax class and subclass would create an incentive for the building of new homes in small Northern Ontario communities. Be it resolved, the Council for the City of Temiskaming Shores does hereby support the Township of Horn-Payne's request that the Honourable Peter Bethenfalvy, Minister of Finance, amend the Assessment Act to include a small northern new residential property tax class and subclass, and further that this resolution be forwarded to the Honourable Doug Ford, Premier of Ontario, the Honourable Peter Bethenfalvy, the Minister of Finance, the Honourable George Peary, Minister of Northern Economic Development and Growth, the Honourable Rob Flack, Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing, John Fantoff, MPP, Temiskaming Cochrane, AMO, FNUM, NOMA, NEOMA, NESMG, Roma, and the Township of Horn-Payne. Can I get a mover, please? It's Councillor Dawson, seconded by Councillor Wilson. Discussion? Councillor Whalen?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Sometimes it's, you read something really quick and you automatically jump behind it because it sounds like a good idea. But for our municipality, this targets municipalities under 5,000 under. It doesn't target City of Temiskaming Shores. The problem with it, though, is, this very council has passed resolutions on the issue in the past, whereas somebody can come into a municipality, council passes a resolution, the Treasury has to develop a new tax levy and carry that special levy for up to 30 years. So somebody can move into your municipality. Next door to you, you might have a $500,000 house and you've been paying taxes on it for the last 20, 25 years on a $500,000 assessment. They can build $1 million home, get a special tax levy. It's counterproductive. That's exactly what's happening in the unincorporated right now. So, while I understand the logic behind it, I don't think it's well thought out. If you really wanted to have a special tax levy, all of our industrial parks in Northern Ontario were built with federal, provincial, and municipal tax money. Create a special ICI tax rate, promote ICI development and help with job creation. So all this does is allows a wealthy individual from the city of Temiskaming Shores to move to an outlying township, build a massive home, and enjoy a vastly reduced tax rate. So, well, the intent sounds good. I don't agree with it. It's counterproductive to, if you want to reduce your tax levy, that's why we have a yearly budget. Work on that, bring your taxes down. But you can't, all you're doing is making development on the backs of the existing taxpayers, so.
Right. Thanks, Councillor Whelan. Any other comments? Councillor Wilson?
Yeah, excellent points. And I had read this originally, and that some of those points I hadn't considered. So that because that wasn't the way it was originally sort of presented when I brought it forward. So so excellent points, and I agree with you. Those are some of the dangers associated with this one, and I think as you said, it's. The intent is right, but the process is perhaps incorrect on that. Yeah. Good. Thanks for those points, Councillor Whalen.
Okay. Any other comments? Okay. So we do have a resolution in front of us. All those in favor? Opposed? And that motion is defeated. Takes us to item C. Council attendance, and that's the Ontario Good Roads Association Conference. I do have a resolution in front of me. Be it resolved, the Council for the City of Temiskaming Shores approves the attendance of a councillor. And I know Councillor Peltier-Living was unable to attend the last meeting. We did deal with a lot of the other conferences, but just if you have any interest and availability to participate, you do? Okay. Councillor Peltier-Living. Okay, so I do have a resolution in front of me. Be it resolved that Council for the City of Temiskaming Shores approves the attendance of Councillor Peltier-Living to the Ontario Good Roads Association Conference scheduled for March the 29th to April 1st, 2026 in Toronto. And the Council acknowledges that Councillor Wilson will be attending the OGRA conference as a member of the Roma Board of Directors. And further, be it resolved that the expenses incurred in attending the said conference be covered in accordance with the municipal business travel and expense policy. Can I get a mover, please? Yep.
Sorry, just a correction. So I will be attending, but not as a member of the Roma board.
Okay.
But on invitation of OGRA. It's probably better wording for that.
Okay. Just make a friendly amendment to that. Okay, so friendly amendment, and Councillor Wilson, you made the motion, so you're okay. Is there a seconder? Councillor Ducharme. Discussion? All in favor? And that motion is carried. Takes us to item 14, bylaws. I do have a resolution in front of me. Be it resolved that A, bylaw number 2026-011, being a bylaw to authorize the execution of the transfer payment agreement through the Municipal Housing Infrastructure Program, Health and Safety Water Stream, between His Majesty the King and Right of Ontario, as represented by the Minister of Infrastructure, and the Corporation of the City of Temiskaming Shores for the New Liskard Lagoon Aeration Replacement Project. B, bylaw number 2026-012, being a bylaw to amend bylaw number 2022-185 to appoint community representatives to various committees and boards for the 2022-2026 term of council. This is for the New Liskard Business Improvement Area Board of Management. Be hereby introduced and given first, second, and third and final reading, signed by the mayor and clerk, and the corporate seal affixed thereto. Can I get a mover, please? Thanks, Councillor Whalen. Second by Councillor Graydon. Discussion? All in favor? That motion is carried. Takes us to item 15, schedule of council meetings. A, we have a committee of the whole meeting scheduled for Tuesday, March the 3rd, 2026, beginning at 3 p.m. And B, we have a regular council meeting scheduled for Tuesday, March the 17th, 2026, beginning at 6 p.m. Takes us to our question and answer period. Does anybody have any questions of council? None online? Okay. We don't have any closed session. Takes us to item 18, confirming bylaw. I do have a resolution in front of me. Be it resolved that bylaw number 2026-013, being a bylaw to confirm certain proceedings of council of the Corporation of the City of Temiskaming Shores for its regular meeting held on February the 17th, 2026, and its committee of the whole meeting held on February the 3rd, 2026, be hereby introduced and given first, second, and third and final reading, and be signed by the mayor and clerk, and the corporate seal affixed thereto. Can I get a mover, please? It's Councillor Dawson, seconded by Councillor Ducharme. Discussion? All in favor? That motion is carried. Takes us to item 19, adjournment. I do have a resolution in front of me. Be it resolved that council hereby adjourns its meeting at 6:36 p.m. Can I get a mover, please? Thanks, Councillor Graydon, seconded by Councillor Pelche-Leving. Discussion? All in favor? Motion is carried. We are adjourned. So bon nuit, big witch, and good night, everyone. Have a great evening.